what, we don't want to let it free. Our focus right now is either getting an early Kalista or getting an early Caitlyn, or they could go for something like we saw earlier on, where with the Braum band away, you are looking at Thresh rising popular priority a little bit.
Yeah, but is the Kalista going to be the more valuable pickup for Vitality here? I'm wondering what they put into Steelback's hands. And it is.
Wow, Colorcaster Pyra.
Yeah.
On the nail. Getting that Kalista
pick in.
Switch
positions here. All right, but so, what are Monkeys going to answer with? What are they
in terms of answering, I think that you want to get yourself the Thresh right now. You cannot afford to give Thresh Kalista over to any bot lane. It does mean that Rakan is still available for Vander. It's still a very potent bottom lane that has a lot of engage tools, but it looks like Vitality is guaranteeing to get at least one of them, and they want to take Djoko off of one of his comfort champions, which is this Gragas, which he had a decent game on a game.
Last time around, Djoko on that Gragas. Now Mysterious Monkeys are looking for an AD carry here. Well, Yuki, it's a very comfortable pick for him on this Xayah if he takes it.
The thing is, I like this because now Vitality, no matter what they draft, what the Mysterious Monkeys are expecting is this Kalista Thresh, but Vitality has said, ooh, okay, so they're completely shifting up. They're going for the Alistar. And now Mysterious Monkeys, they're in a bit of a predicament because they were thinking, right, they're either going to go Thresh or they're going to go Rakan, and we can go for the other one and we'll still have a fine scaling lane. We still have great opportunities. But now if you pick either a Thresh or Rakan into an Alistar, it's going to be a little difficult. During the laning phase, you'll still be pretty strong with Xayah Rakan. But later on into the game, you have like hard engage that's really good at shutting down the hard engage of someone like a Rakan.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for Monkeys to try and pull this off. I wonder if they trust their laning enough. Clearly, that's what they decided to prioritize. But now we're into ban phase 2. What do you get rid of here if you're Monkeys?
Ooh. So if you're the Mysterious Monkeys, you could consider taking away the Corki, something that Nukeduck had a lot of success with. I feel like LeBlanc is still a big power pick that he has a lot of comfort on, so you could consider taking that away. The focus will be mid lane, but they've actually shifted to one of the more conventional mid lane bans that you see.
Yeah, Cassiopeia also banned up by Vitality, so once again they focus on removing a comfortable pick from CozQ. Will it stay in the mid lane corner as the Monkeys still have 15 seconds for their last ban?
So I am expecting like a LeBlanc ban here, especially against Nukeduck. I think it makes a lot of sense. Or alternatively, you could risk it. You could ban something else, and you could look to prioritize the LeBlanc yourself. Or because you have last pick, you can get the counter. So you put Kikis on something like a Jarvan once more, or maybe even a Kled. I want to see some kind of follow-up engage, because you've got the Rakan and you've also got the Gragas. So I think some kind of tanky follow-up like Jarvan would be very good here. And I think it's also pretty safe.
But they gave away, as Kane is banned, they gave away the Corki possibly to Nukeduck. Is that a mistake?
No, I don't think it's a mistake. I think there are definitely answers to Corki, and I don't think Nukeduck necessarily carried the game. He just had a good one, right? Sure, it's safe and it's pretty well-rounded.
Or they take it away themselves.
But that's the alternative option, right? So even if Vitality now go for something like a LeBlanc, sure, you have some of the kill pressure, but Corki can play that lane perfectly safe. And Mysterious Monkeys are just saying, you know what, we're going to pick a pretty well-rounded comp right now. We have a lot of damage, we have a lot of engage tools, and now I think they just need to round it out with a little bit more CC, and that's why I'm really looking at this Jarvan. But Vitality could take it away from the Mysterious Monkeys.
Oh, maybe they'll be going for comfort themselves. It's been a big pick for Cabochard, that Rumble, as it is now locked in. And all that's left is to see what Nukeduck will play. As you mentioned, the LeBlanc, it is his next most played champion after all those other ones he has played. However, Jayce comes out for the second time here for Nukeduck.
So, Jayce, after the changes to lethality, has been seeing an increase in popularity. Things like the Ghost Blade, Dust Blade of Drakthar are comfortable item builds on him, give him a lot of laning power, and he's also relatively safe into things like a Corki too. Team fighting is okay, does pretty well on side lane as well. He has a bunch of options available to him. I'm excited, we can talk more about the matchup when we actually get into game.
Yeah, and for the last pick, for Kikis, he gets his hands on the Camille, so this is one that he has played a handful of times. Of course, a lot of unique champions for Kikis, but he has looked good on that Camille, and I wonder how he'll fare up against Cabochard's Rumble.
It's exciting, it's exciting. Often considered a good matchup for the Camille. The spell shield really helps with the early power that Rumble used to have, but then after the nerfs, his ability to push got hurt a little bit, but it gets better with lane, but also just the early damage that he has, Camille's shield can really mitigate it, and once she gets a few more levels under her belt, the matchup just gets better and better, and she outscales, but she doesn't quite have the same teamfight power that a Rumble does have.
But doesn't giving Kikis the carry, one of the carries, kind of smack of that old strategy that Mysterious Monkeys had, which is try to focus him up top, try to get him ahead, try to snowball and make him the deep threat? that Vitality have to answer?
Well, they could go back to that style. I think that when your back's against the wall and you realize, okay, our teamfight composition didn't quite work out the way we wanted it to, maybe you just have to go back to what you did find some success with in the past. And if that's put all the eggs in the Kikis basket, could very well be, but I still think that teamfighting is good. I still think that they have options. And I think they also have a lot of disengaged tools with the Gragas ultimate, with the Xayah ultimate, with just Corki being Corki. I think that they still have ways to also disengage fights, very similarly to how Vitality could in Game 1.
Well, we will find out if they can use all those tools to great effect, if Mysterious Monkeys can even out this series and take us all the way to a Game 3. If you believe so, hop on Twitter at LOL Esports, hashtag MMWin. But of course, if you are gunning for Team Vitality, hashtag VIT win as the pact is completed between Vander and Steelback and the rest of the team to take the rift for Game 2.
So it was amazing who had the Sejuani Game 1. Djoko had the Gragas in Game 1. Now they have swapped. Arguably, Gragas is a slightly stronger early game jungler in terms of his ability to gank, and his clear speed is a little bit faster. But the level 6 mark, I would argue, a little bit more impactful for Djoko. The big AoE stun, the slow, really, really strong. And it also has a lot of great follow-up. Things like a Jayce, things like a Rumble, really good at just providing the damage needed with the CC that he provides to get a lot of easy kills all across the map.
So long as you hit it, though. Remember, last time around, amazing. I mean, he was still finding a handful of targets, but Vitality were so slippery. They were moving away from just about every engagement that the Monkeys tried. I wonder if amazing on a more comfortable champion like this, Gragas, can have a better early game impact, because we did see Djoko getting a level ahead of his counterpart on this champion last time around.
I'm a little bit worried about this Xayah Rakan bottom lane. I feel like a Braum would have been much better in this composition. Not only is it great into the Alistar, but I also think that it just acts as a great tool to disengage against things like the Sejuani. Also, Morgana would have been really good here. I know
you've been talking about Morgana up quite a bit, actually.
But there's no Morgana today. Here. Yeah, we won't talk about it for now. Instead, let's talk about early jungling, because we do see a bit of a hard leash coming out from Vitality in the bottom lane. Exactly the same as what we saw in Game 1. And in terms of the matchups across the board, mid lane, there's a lot of farming, unfortunately. I'd love to tell you all about Jayce versus Corki and how Jayce is a really fun and dynamic champion. Usually he just sits in range mode and he last hits with his little why it's that sound effect, don't know, but I always remember it. And in this bottom lane, you will see a fair amount of trading early levels, as we discussed in Champion Select. The thing about Alistar is he can't really do very much at level 1. Level 2, level 3, he has a few more options, but Dreams has a lot of mobility. So what you'll see from him is he'll always sit on the front line. He'll soak up a lot of the engage the Vander will try to initiate, and then every time it happens, he just dashes back to Yuki, and he's like, well, unlucky.
That's a pretty frustrating one.
Yes.
I mean, Vander, he also missed a key step to playing this Alistar as well.
The cowbell.
He didn't do the cowbell.
He didn't do the cowbell.
Yeah, so you're going to be sure to lose now.
Yeah, that is a common tradition. But also, once they hit the level 6 mark, they're going to have a ton of kill threat. Alistar, Kalista, very, very scary.
That's very true.
Once you get to Vamp Scepter 2, she'll have a little bit more power. So that's the bottom lane. We got the mid lane too. Top lane, what you'll see is Rumble pushing. Camille, though, does have a fair amount of kill threat. You got to remember, once she hits that level 3 mark, along with an early level Gragas, you could be looking at a shish kebab of the Yordle up in the top lane.
Yeah, we'll have to see where the junglers decide to help with that one. Djoko, he moved up into Amazing's jungle to try and scout out some Krugs. Instead, he found nothing, but he will be coming up to the top, and Kikis is on half a health bar here. We'll see if he's able to make a gank happen, but Kikis has got to know. He is really low right now, still holding on to this flash. Do they fancy a dive? Well, not this time, as there is the ward down, but Arctic Assault comes out, hook shot, Kikis is nice and safe.
But objective gained, or they they do what they wanted. They forced him back. He's going to lose.
The objective was forcing him back.
Exactly. Yes, that was the goal. And cool, not great with words today. Funny, given that it's my job. But Kikis, he'll have to TP back in. He's been starved a lot of early farm. Love the pathing from Djoko to be topside. And even though he doesn't get the kill, the fact that they get this early TP now means the Vitality have a slight advantage in the early game.
Well, that's what we saw the last time around as well, but Gold doesn't really speak of anything at the moment because we're still waiting for everyone to start backing. We're looking to see if they can get a little bit more done here. Steelback, he has to hop back forward now with the Alistar, rather. Having his level 3, he can do a little bit more in the ways of combos, but he's got to be careful to dodge out some of those feathers. A lot of stacks, a lot of things just flying down on this bottom side. Non-conventional weaponry, I would say.
Yeah, but it is effective. And that is the annoying thing about Xayah and Rakan. They care about each other so much that every time you touch them, they get kind of annoyed about it, so they throw stuff at you.
Yeah, specifically feathers.
Yes, sharp ones.
They have a thing with feathers.
Yeah. And also weird comments.
Yeah. There are actually an insane amount of lines between these two. It is ridiculous. Okay, here we go. For the entrance, Steelback, he's still able to dodge it out, but Vander, he's right on the front right now. This is the trading we want to see. They get the stun off, and ignites. He's going to force a flash out of both of the bird lovers.
So they flew a little too close to the sun there, and they did indeed get burnt. Will result in a flash coming out from Dreams and the heal coming out from Yuki. That's something you always have to be mindful of. Remember, we talked about how once Vander gets a few levels under his belt, he can look to play a little bit more in your face. And this time around, Dreams, he was continuing with his poke pattern, and then Vander was like, nay, or moo, and denied him that.
So you're getting your animals mixed up too, mate. It's okay. It's a zoo out there sometimes, for sure. Amazing. He's making his way down to the bottom lane, actually looking to try and take a few Krugs away himself, and he'll have better luck than what Djoko did last time. But this still continues to be a game of trying to find little spaces, little advantages, and just like last time, it's going to be a while before I think we see that first blood. However, Djoko, he's hurting for farm as he manages to sneak a bit away from Amazing here. There's a whole level separating those two, and you can see that CS differential making that up.
It's very similar to what we saw in game 1, where Amazing tried to make an early gank happen top. Wasn't able to get it, and once Amazing knew where the enemy jungler was, he just went for a few steals. He stayed in the jungle, he did an early back, and basically Amazing's early focus has just been jungle, 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 and that's given him this early level advantage. So if he gets level 6 first, I want to see him making a play. Cabo, he just hit level 6 now. He's going to continue to force Kikis back.
Yep, only level 5 on Kikis, so he can't really respond in kind, and you got to be careful. Can only dodge so much when that equalizer is coming out. So Cabochard continuing to push as predicted up here. This should open an opportunity for Amazing to come in for a counter gank, but he's still sitting on level 5 as well. There's a big line of minions here that Kikis does not want to miss out on. Could be to his detriment if he sticks around too late, but he does manage to force Cabo back as he was tanking on tower shots.
You can see both junglers heading to the top side.
Here's Amazing. Oh, Cabo has gone deep. Here we go. Bop into the barrel. Now that's going to be attack sweep for Kikis as he has to hook shot away. A lot of AoE damage, and Amazing might be left for dead here, but Vitality are deep behind enemy lines. Cabochard's overheating, and now it's Mysterious Monkeys who's trying to clear away these minions. But Djoko, he fancies coming in for round 2. He's only level 4 right now. And Amazing, he's able to push him back. Kikis still dodging out from death here. Djoko, let's see if they can turn around. Hook shot, now they're running for safety.
And they have to get away from this turret as fast as possible because there are so many members moving to the top side.
Oh, that was close from Nukeduck. He needed a bit more damage there, but only sitting on that serrated Dirk. That means Kikis will be taking the route back. Even Vander wanted to come up and make a play of it.
And I love this play from Vitality because immediately Nukeduck, he was pushing in the middle lane. He wanted to stop CozQ roaming to try and help his top laner out. Both Steelback and Vander realized that the pressure was a little too much for them in the 2 versus 2 lane. They didn't want to have to deal with it anymore, so they swapped to the top side, tried to get themselves a kill, or at the very least that first tower. So they've now gotten themselves this early lead, and while Mysterious Monkeys will be able to trade, it does mean that they will be put into an early deficit. So Vitality being pretty proactive here in the early game.
It's the same thing we saw last time around. Vitality building up a lead early on. Mysterious Monkeys just a step behind. I don't really know if you can call it a team cohesion issue, though, because Vitality, they just looked a little bit better. Question for this game, though, I think as things go on, because he talked about Nukeduck and CozQ being kind of a farm-oriented lane. When do they start to break out? I feel like Jayce has an impact a little earlier than the Corki. Am I wrong?
It depends what you define by impact.
Can he kill people faster?
I mean, yes, Nukeduck definitely has a little bit more burst than Corki does, but they both scale pretty well. I'd argue the CozQ scales a little harder because you'll be building things like the Infinity Edge later on and the Rapid Fire and the Static Shiv, which is just a really strong late game items, especially once you've got them all together. Whereas Nukeduck, I am expecting more like a lethality build, so he has a slightly stronger mid-game spike at the 2-item point. And then where he goes from there, he has quite a few options. I've seen some people rush the Mercurial Scimitar. I've seen other people go for like a Black Cleaver because they want the cooldown reduction. Some get a very early GA. There are a bunch of different paths that he can go depending on what he wants to try and do. And I think that if he wants to go teamfight, maybe Black Cleaver would be more valuable. But I think that what Vitality's win condition is right now getting an early lead, because they are reliant a little bit on snowballing with the Kalista and stuff, as we see a play from MM in the top lane.
Yeah, here they're going in on the Cabochard. Featherstorm comes out. Yuki's even able to get a root down on Cabo. He's flashing away. And let's see, Dreams tanking on towers. It's going to be first blood. Finally, Yuki gets it, and Dreams tanks the tower all through. Monkeys now on the bottom side, or on the top side, I should say.
Cabo, he wanted to use his ultimate to clear out the minion wave. He thought he would be safe, but the range on that engage from the Camille was just way too long. He was not expecting how quickly they would be able to collapse. Mysterious Monkeys, they get themselves a tower. They get themselves a kill, and they will be a little bit ahead of the place. They'll be able to push this minion wave all the way up to the tier 2, and they'll still be able to get themselves a bit of farm on the bottom end. So I love this proactivity that we're seeing from Mysterious Monkeys.
Yeah, they were able to come up with a faster pick, and of course, it's all about focusing up the top. So Kikis, he was set behind a little bit early, but the old Monkey standby seems to be working well for them right now. Didn't pick up the kill, but it didn't matter because they put it on Yuki.
But Kikis, he is still in a pretty significant deficit right now. Notice 30 CS behind his lane opposition. The early game pressure from Djoko and Cabochard have really made his early game life a little more difficult. Now we can see how this happens. So Cabo, he just wants to go out the wave. Like, that's just a really long engage. There's very little he could have done about that. I feel like maybe he wanted a flash, but he knew that if he flashed away, then the ultimate was going to come out regardless from Kikis. So he was kind of unlucky.
Yeah. Well, he ends up using it after the fact anyways, but at least he got a heal out of Yuki. I mean, it's difficult. That Camille can close gaps, really, really long ones. And Cabochard, unfortunately, he was the one on the menu, but now we are even in the gold game. It's 2-2 in towers. Kikis is going to start getting this push on the bottom side. We've got waves pushing pretty well for the Monkeys up in the top, and it looks like they've got the tempo advantage as they go to clear out vision here inside Vitality's jungle now is Dreams, but he runs smack dab into Vander and decides, no, I do not want to face that Mukau.
So Mysterious Monkeys, they actually have a lot of control over the map. Their priority is getting this Rift Herald, as you rightly said. And Vitality, they're going to be forced to face check, but I think they're feeling pretty happy to try and make a fight happen right now.
For Vander, CozQ, he's right in the middle of it all, and Dreams is coming in with the battle dance. He gets a knock up onto Nukeduck, but the teleport's going to complete now. And here comes CozQ with the package, separating him down the middle, but the Fate's Call brings Vander out. Sticks are stuck into CozQ, but not enough for them to get a kill, so it was a messy, messy fight, but no one will die right now.
So coordination again, a little bit off for Mysterious Monkeys. You saw Dreams go in for an engagement, there was no follow-up. We saw Kikis by himself having to disengage from the fight immediately. Vitality, though, they knew exactly what they wanted to do. Group up, try and contest this Rift Herald, and they force Mysterious Monkeys off it. And you're just seeing the slight difference in level from the both teams. Vitality's communication, it was certainly a big issue for them in the past, something that they have tried really hard to work upon it. We talked a lot about it in Game 1, where Yamato's mentality was, let's build them back from the ground up, let's teach them the fundamentals and we can develop from there. And you are seeing right now that those fundamentals do exist for Vitality. They know when to fight together, they know better when to try and make a play happen. Whereas Mysterious Monkeys, they're just kind of going with the flow. They're seeing an opportunity, they go, it's a good decision now, it's a good decision now, it's a good decision now. And they're struggling to answer against the more slightly put-together team of Vitality.
So that's why we're going to see those smarter engages, those faster engages. A big part of why Vitality was able to play it out well in Game 1 with that 1-3-1 comp. They can punish now, just like they've wanted to do most of the split long, and you can see some of the items coming in to help them do it. Nukeduck, of course, on his Ghost Blade. We've talked ad nauseum about the lethality changes and how Jayce definitely getting a big boost out of it. But Cabochard, he's going to have a pretty big impact soon. As soon as that Leandries is complete, he's still half an item away from making that happen, though. Vitality going to clear some vision out of the Mysterious Monkeys jungle, and Rift Herald obviously been stopped short. Dragon a little risky to take because it takes a while to clear away that mountain. So it kind of feels like we are in a bit of a holding pattern once again.
We are indeed, Pyra. The two teams have square off in the middle lane. Vitality, this time they want to group up. Ooh, that's a very fast Vander.
That was unexpected amounts of boost speed from Vander, okay. But now it's Dragon time.
Well, he makes his way over to the Dragon. Djoko and Steelback, they have now grouped. But let's go back to win conditions, because we were talking a little bit about it earlier. Vitality, a little bit more of a snowball comp. When you have a Kalista, when you have a Jayce, you want them to be slightly ahead approaching the mid-game. You want them to have an ever so slight item advantage over their opposition, because their scaling isn't the best. So they want to try and force fights in the midpoint in the game, like 20, 25, 30 minutes. Whereas Mysterious Monkeys, they're actually fine scaling. Xayah scales really well, Corki scales really well, Camille scales really well. They have a lot of options to play 1-3-1 or team fight if they want, because they have Dreams and Amazing for an engage. And so the onus is actually on Vitality right now to actually make stuff happen. And in game 1, around the 17-minute mark, we saw them start to be more active. And Vitality, I feel like they do need to be a little bit more active earlier on into the game, but Mysterious Monkeys are very aware of this, so they're not going for too many risks, and I like to see this kind of play from Mysterious Monkeys. Don't give Vitality the win condition that they need. Recognize that you can just scale, even though the Camille's in an early deficit. You will eventually get to a point in the game where that Camille will easily out-trade that Rumble.
Not quite yet, but at the time, for the time being, at the very least, Kikis is confident to be able to go on the 1v1 until he runs straight into the Flame Spitter as Cabochard is able to clear everything away. Steelback, Vander, they are still on the top side pushing away. So they like this split push style because Monkeys have been trying to keep them side waves, I should say, pushed out constantly. But it does seem like the Monkeys are doing everything they can. I want to go back to your point about how the Monkeys just, they don't seem to have that same level that Vitality has in knowing where and when they can actually take fights, force engages, and when they do, actually executing it well. So if they don't quite have that same level Vitality do, what can they really do against this team?
Patience. Patience is the key, Pyra, because we've talked at length about the onus is on Vitality to make something happen, and so Mysterious Monkeys, they can sit back. They can be like, you know what? The time is ticking for you, not us. We actually don't have to make anything happen. Any advantages we gain is great. We know we're going to scale well, so you try and make a play happen, and we'll be ready. And that's what they need to do. They need to be so prepared for what Vitality is trying to force and react accordingly to it. Either deny the fight completely or get a fight going in your favor. Whatever it is, Mysterious Monkeys just need to not press the go button until they hit 2.5, 3 items.
Okay, well, we'll start the timer ticking, and it's worth noting that the Monkeys do have a good set of disengage tools themselves. You've got the Gragas, the Camille hookshot. You saw how much distance you can close in one direction. Well, that works in reverse, too, as well as the Rakan and the Xayah. They are a very mobile composition, and they can move around the map pretty quickly when they need to. Seems like a lot of vision has been invested, though, in the Vitality jungle on the top side. It's going to be a little while before there's really anything worth taking around there. Well,
they invested it a little. You can see they're all about half duration. This was invested when they went for the Rift Herald a little bit earlier on. So this is just the remnants of the vision that they do have, that they had before. They know exactly where Vitality are, and now they're shifting their vision a little bit more towards the bottom side because they know the next big objective is going to be this Infernal Drake. Still a ways away, but getting that deep vision in just better sets you up for playing around it later on.
Mm-hmm. So it definitely helps them. They want to keep eyes on what Vitality are doing and slow them down as much as possible. There's still that significant gold, or not insignificant gold lead, I should say, on the Vitality side. Up in the top is where Nukeduck is, though. He's the one who's taking side lane duty, and he walks right over a Mysterious Monkeys ward, so he's going to be spotted out. Monkeys, for the time being, don't have anyone there to react to him, but CozQ will be making his way up soon enough. Let's see how far he dares to push. Teleport coming around. The jaws are closing here. CozQ comes in with the package Valkyrie, and in comes Kikis. Exhaust immediately, and that's going to be followed up by the TP now. Coming out for Cabochard as he puts down the cage, throwing on the equalizer. But Djoko's joining the party, and so is Dreams. Looking to try and save out CozQ, so Vitality, they make the push forward. Monkeys, they are the ones that are able to get the disengage.
So we saw some good stuff from both teams right there. Mysterious Monkeys tried to get the collapse onto an overextended Nukeduck. They knew that they had the package, so it'd be super easy for CozQ to make a play up to the top side. And Kikis with his mobility, they should be able to lock down Nukeduck. However, Vitality also read the play. They recognize what Mysterious Monkeys is trying to do. They respond with the TP in kind, and they're able to actually have 3 members up the top side along with both Nukeduck and Cabochard. So because of that, they force Mysterious Monkeys back. Kikis nearly loses his life, he loses his flash, and they end up getting the objective that they wanted, which was that tower. So Vitality, they came out overhead, and again, it's one of those situations where Mysterious Monkeys don't actually need to force anything. They didn't need to make that TP play happen. I can see why they did it, but the gamble ended up backfiring on them.
Here's where they're forcing something again. This time they're looking for mid-tower with the Rift Herald and 4 members on top. It's pretty easy pickings right now as they had seen Nukeduck still up top, pushing the wave of minions in there. Don't know if it's the most efficient use of the Rift Herald. They will get another charge off of it as they back away. But Mysterious Monkeys did need to start trading back some towers, at least so they thought.
Good utilization of the Rift Herald. It was going to run out soon, so they needed to make that play happen.
That's a good point.
Sooner rather than later. Now the Dragon's going to be spawning in 50 seconds. Mysterious Monkeys really don't want to concede this mid turret.
Well, but Yuki's already half health right now. Vitality, they know they can move forward here as Amazing has to body slam over that wall, back over into the jungle, and this tower is going to be falling pretty quickly here. Vitality, when they turn their attention, they're able to make it happen. To Dreams, he goes quick, but he's not able to find anybody on that charm, and that's going to be an ultimate burn for Mysterious Monkeys.
That's a big deal when Vitality, their eyes are set on this Dragon. Mysterious Monkeys, they're probably just going to have to concede that objective now. As Vitality, they continue to push, grouped up as a 5-man unit mid. Yuki still not with the team. Mysterious Monkeys, I do not want to see them try and force anything right now.
Yeah, be a great scaling Drake for them to have into the later stages of the game, but the Infernal looks like Vitality are the ones that have the position to take it. Kikis still on farm duty down on the bottom side. But the Monkeys aren't completely giving up on this just yet. They're going to get spotted on the Scryer's Bloom.
They really should. Mysterious Monkeys should not try and fight for this Dragon. They're not in a good enough position to do so. Camille still hasn't even completed an item yet. You've only got the Trinity Force on Corki. If they could have kept that tower alive, that would have been ideal, but you lost it. So now you just give up the Drake, reset the waves. You have a pushing lane up top, get pushing in mid. Vitality looking for a fight.
Yeah, Amazing. They are able to get away, or are they? Featherstorm comes out, but it doesn't matter. Equalizer on, forcing the flash out of Amazing to get out of the damage, and the Fate's Call comes a little too late as Vander goes backwards. Kick is still pushing on the bottom side. Monkeys, that was a close call for them, but they get out with their lives.
Best case scenario for the Mysterious Monkeys. We talked a lot about how Vitality want to be the team to try and make stuff happen, and they were expecting Mysterious Monkeys to face check. They didn't. So Vitality had to try and haphazardly make this engage happen. They used their ulti onto Amazing. It didn't go the way they wanted. Kikis now, he has everything available.
Oh, there he goes. Hook shot right over, forcing the flash out of Steelback as Vander is right there. Body block most of that damage. Nukeduck in the back side, firing away. Shock Blast. Mysterious Monkeys, they get a little cold feet here, but now they got the positioning on the Dragon.
And this was the mistake made by Vitality. Rather than fighting around the Dragon, they just try to force the fight mid. So now Mysterious Monkeys are actually in the better position because they know that Vitality want to back and reset. They want to spend some of the gold that they've been farming up. And because they ended up using a lot of those ultimates, there was no real threat the Mysterious Monkeys had to play around. Therefore, they end up getting themselves a bit of pressure in the enemy jungle, and they get themselves the Drake.
Well, it seems great for the Monkeys right now. Talking about buying time, waiting for the later stages of the game to happen. That Vitality window is going to be shrinking. You said they were going to make some plays or look to start making these plays at least by the 24-minute marker. I think you said a little bit before then. But how long are they going to realistically have? The gold lead is not significant.
No, it is not. And I think it's still fine. Vitality, they still have a strong window. 2 items, perfectly fine for both the Jayce and the Kalista. The thing about when you hear casters talk a lot about like early mid game, a lot of people think like you have to make a play in the first 5 minutes of the game or you're over, and that's not entirely true. You usually like early to mid lasts around 25 to 30 minutes. Late game is like 30-35 minutes onwards, depending on your perspective.
It also depends on the team, right?
Yeah, it also does depend on the team too. But for Vitality, usually like items are a good indicator, and 2 completed items is around mid game. That's the mid game point. And as we look across the board, we are reaching that point for Vitality. So that's when they need to be forcing things onto the Mysterious Monkeys.
Monkeys a little bit behind on that one with no completed items still on Kikis, but it doesn't matter. They have the tempo advantage up in this top side. Waves getting cleared away, but they got the tower down to half its health, and they're the ones that are forcing Vitality to move around where they'd like to be. Kikis, he leads another wave of minions into that tower, and there's so much Mysterious Monkeys vision here where everyone's playing around this map. They just seem to have the jump on Vitality for the time being.
And notice how they're not being too over-eager with making any of these plays happen. It's very much just clearing out the waves, playing around the vision that they have. They'll have to send Kikis back bot to catch that wave as well. And Mysterious Monkeys are playing a lot more patient style. This is much more what they used to. They like having a carry in the top lane in the form of Kikis. CozQ is on a safe mid laner in Corki. Maybe not his usual style, because I think of him, I think of Katarina and Cassio. But
I mean, you can't always get those champions.
Yeah, and
he's
playing perfectly fine right now. We haven't seen a huge amount of impact from Amazing this whole series. He hasn't been that relevant so far in terms of gang pressure. But Mysterious Monkeys still playing towards what they want to do. They're playing towards their win condition. Scale up, late game fight. That's really where they're going to shine.
And one, I think, pretty big improvement from game 1 to 2 right now for the Mysterious Monkeys. Obviously has been a low kill game, but Dreams has not had himself caught out nearly as much as he was on that Trundle. We saw his average death count being pretty high, even among all the supports in the European LCS. But this game, the Rakan kind of enables him to be a lot safer, it's true, but he's played so much better on positioning, and it's nice to see. Vitality are moving their way forward. Mysterious Monkeys have kind of given way for the time being. Still Vitality, they want to try to take some control back around this Baron pit. I don't know if this is going to be a little bit more desperation if they try to force out a fight and try to turn it onto the Worm. But Kikis is still down in that bottom lane. He does have TP. Both carries in the top do have it, in fact. Cabochard moving with the team for the time being. Well, let's see what ends up happening here. Nukeduck just on the front line pecking away. But as you said, he pretty much has spent most of the time this game in that cannon form. He hasn't really had to go to the skies because there hasn't been a big engage until about now as Vander comes in. And it looks like Dreams was the one who was caught on the front line, but all the same, he's able to do a battle dance. Back to keep himself safe. Kikis looking to come in for round number 2. But the Monkeys decide they don't want to push any farther than that.
And Vitality failed to find another fight. Mysterious Monkeys, though, they're looking eager. They have a lot of ultis ready.
Hook shot over the wall, but Vander gets a knock-up. Let's see what they can do. It's another one. Vander gets knocked up himself, but as he gets pulled back and pulled right back in to go bowling, it's Nukeduck who wants to go to the skies this time. Kikis looking for a hunt on, but Steelback is the one who manages to find out Yuki. Kikis goes down for the double kill. Steelback comes alive, and Vitality take the fight.
Mysterious Monkeys initially looked very good. They avoided a lot of the hard crowd control. They did not fall prey to the fight that Vitality tried to force as Nukeduck, he's going in 1v2.
Now he's got Cabochard at his back. It's not as bad as it looks here as Dreams is getting burned down and Nukeduck gets on the board. Meanwhile, the rest of Vitality on Baron Nashor, and it looks oh so easy.
We talked so much about the 2-item spike, Pyra. What is that across the board for Vitality?
Hold on, let me do the math here. That's 1, 2. That is 2 items on everybody.
Exactly, and this is where Vitality wanted to make a play. They had a great flank from Vander, but the follow-up just wasn't as good as they wanted it to be. Mysterious Monkeys, they had a great disengage. They were retreating. But this is where they tried to go for... Oh no, this is actually the start of the fight. So you can see here, Xayah doesn't get knocked up, Corki doesn't get knocked up. Dreams goes onto the back line. He stops the follow-up immediately. Everything looking good for Mysterious Monkeys at this point. You just reset. You clear out mid, maybe go back, maybe drop a few wards here and there around Baron, but you do not try and go for the re-engage. Because remember, Steelback still has his ulti up. So when they think they've caught Vander, he gets pulled in into a beautiful knockup as Nukeduck is now dead.
Okay. Well,
not the best.
Do not want to be that far out isolated when Monkeys can't punish you.
But yeah, so backtracking before I was really interrupted by Nukeduck's death. That was such a good knockup from Vander onto so many members. Then the rest of Vitality get the immediate follow-up. Yuki ends up dropping. CozQ's in a bad situation. And it's just a really good setup from Vitality because Mysterious Monkeys overcommit. They get themselves the Baron, and now, utilizing the spike in the game that they have, they're poised and ready to fight.
Yeah, Cabochard's Equalizer definitely did a lot of that damage in that fight. So despite Nukeduck going down on the second half, after everything was said and done, Vitality still have Baron buff on 4 members, but they have to contend with the split push of Kikis right now. He's still a little bit behind the 8 ball. 30 CS been behind Cabochard. It's not as bad as we've seen this game, but he's only got the Trinity Force and his shoes as well as that Tiamat to try and get the wave clear, but he's able to get out pretty easily. As soon as the Chaz were shutting on the trap, he hook shots over the wall.
Now Vitality, we want to see them utilizing this Baron buff, group up mid. A lot of summoner spells are unavailable for Mysterious Monkey, should be easy to force a fight. And here they go.
All right, in goes Steelback. Djoko manages to get a Glacial Prison out onto Amazing, and Steelback pulls out them Rent stacks. 3rd kill of the game for the Vitality AD carry, and that's going to lead the charge to try and push onto this tower. Package Valk over for CozQ, but he does not want to chance trying to clear the wave here with the rest of Vitality right in front of the tower. That's going to be one more taken down. The Vitality look to try and break into the base at 28 minutes. No minions.
And even though Mysterious Monkeys have all this vision across the map, it doesn't matter. Because Vitality, they just ran it down mid and they were like, now we engage. And they, Mysterious Monkeys lost their biggest front line in the form of Amazing. Vitality, they're looking ready to try and break into the base.
They wanted to take out CozQ, and he's actually forced to pull off his Valkyrie here. In goes Djoko to try and take down Yuki, but it's not going to matter. Equalizer comes out. CozQ, he's caught up, and he is taken down to 0. Base broken open. It's a barbecue for Vitality inside the Monkeys' base. And Yamato, stretch it out, man, because the team is looking ready to close this game.
Oh, they certainly are. CozQ's there, one of the main wave clearers, kind of amazing to anything.
That's the question. In goes Dreams. Oh, he gets a three-man charm into the knockup, and now Kikis is coming in around the backside, but Cabochard has gone golden. Cabochard has been taken out by Yuki. However, Steelback is running wild, and it looks like they're going to be able to finish off this game. Featherstorm pulling them all back in with the Blade Collar. Not going to be enough, but everyone is falling down. Steelback is a madman, and with the team at his back, they will clean house. Takedown amazing. There's the aces. It goes over to Vander in the end, and it's all going to be it from here. Finishing off this last Nexus turret.
Steelback, he gets denied the Quadra, but he did the work, and Vitality look convincing as they take the series over Monkeys.
All right, just fire a few more shots right into the face of CozQ, and it is GG. Viva Vitality!
So we had another pretty slow game for the majority of it. But we talked a lot about it, Pyra. I'm glad my prediction was accurate. 2-item spike, they're ready to go. They looked for a great flank. They made the fight happen. The Mysterious Monkeys, they just got baited in. They saw an opportunity. They saw that shiny rock off in the distance, and they were like, I want that shiny rock. And then that shiny rock kind of smashed them in the face, and they ended up losing.
Yep. Unfortunately, the Monkeys still not quite playing up to the level of a lot of their opponents, and Vitality with the 2-0. It's only a Vitality team that we can talk about a game that ended under 30 minutes being slow. Yes. But, I mean, when it came alive, it did. And Steelback, I got to give him a lot of credit on this Kalista. He really looked unleashed. Towards the end of that, as soon as he was finding CC targets, there were Ren stacks going in left and right.
Yes, 6-0-2. Steelback did, in fact, have a great game, but Vander as well. You've got to give props to him. A lot of his engagements really good. Love the flank paths that he took. The ultimates that he used along with Steelback were great, and I felt like the duo lane really had a great performance this series.
Yeah, got to give him some credit to be able to play it out right, and, well, Yuki and Dreams had unfortunate that they were up against that duo on the day, and a lot of happy faces on the Vitality side. This puts them in a much safer position to avoid that promotion tournament, to possibly, just maybe, try to make a run for them playoffs. It's still going to be a long ways away, though.
Yeah, it's a good start, and at the very least, you're looking more likely to secure that safe spot now in Group B, given that you've extended your lead over the Mysterious Monkeys, and there's only going to be tough opponents left to fight. So for Vitality, I feel like their next goal is to prove how well they can hold their own against these other top teams that they have in Group B, because it certainly is stacked with some of the other opposition.
Yeah, but Vitality started to find some more groove with not just Nukeduck, Steelback coming up big as well, as Vitality tackled the pressure and got the win against the Mysterious Monkeys. Let's head it over to the analyst desk for more on that series.
Well, thank you very much, Pyra. Very strong performance from Vitality. And I want to take a moment to highlight just the key moment in this game and to set it up. Obviously, the teams were quite equal. It was looking like Mysterious Monkeys were going to take the game. They were up 1 kill. They seemed to have some pressure. And it all came down to the mid-game team fights. And I want to take a look at this replay in a second and tell me, or you should tell me, what do both teams want from the engage or from the disengage? And what are their roles in the team fight, so to say?
Yeah, so we can just take a look at the setup with the replay coming up, and we just have it paused like straight away, and we actually can kind of talk about exactly the goals. So it is paused right now. The goal for Vitality is they need Vander to reach the backline of Mysterious Monkeys, where you can see Yuki and CozQ and the Xayah and the Corki. They're grouped together right now. Vander, in every fight, always wants to find at least one of them and actually either force them out of the fight or set up so the rest of the Vitality team with Rumble ulti and these kind of things can actually get onto them and kill them. And what Mysterious Monkeys wants is to protect these 2 AD carries. It's a bit like the comp from Vitality in the last game, where the backline is very strong and you're sitting and auto-attacking the first target in front of them, which is why you need to get onto them and actually try and CC them. So when the replay starts, we can see how the first engage here, while it is a fine engage from Vander, Yuki with his ulti and CozQ, of course, using, I think it was his Valk or his, at least some sort of, yeah, that was a Valk coming away.
Yeah.
They're able to just avoid the engage from Vander, and that's perfect. Like, this right here was great from Mysterious Monkeys. This was everything they wanted, because right now, you actually have 2 safe AD carries. Problem for them is they're forgetting that there's also a Kalista ulti. So it wasn't just Vander flash engaging, that's all he has in that tank. Instead, they start like running down towards Vitality, and they kind of forget their objective is to keep the backline safe. So when we run the clip again, you're gonna see how they jump on Vander. They actually walk into like this little choke point almost against him. And the 2 guys, once again, Yuki and CozQ, are completely grouped up, and they just completely forget about Vander's engage. They get actually knocked up. You can see how they instantly, the Xayah just drops. He used flash in the last fight. That was a mistake on my side, not pointing that out. But Monkeys were like, yay, we did it.
Go.
We survived the engage. We can win the fight. They walk forward. They forget Kalista ulti is a thing. So the two guys who are supposed to protect, CozQ and Yuki, they group together. They walk in towards the enemy team. And of course, they get in range of Vander, who fires in their faces. Yuki dies instantly. It's a one-team fight from Vitality. So it's always fun to watch one team is trying to, throw themselves at the enemy team. The other team is trying to then kite them back, and then seeing who is actually succeeding and why.
Is it possible that Vitality, obviously, they know that Xayah has an escape. They know that Corki has Valkyrie, so that they kind of baited it out in a way. They said, let's throw the one engage we do have of Alistar that's going to just refresh in a couple of seconds anyway on there, because we know they'll try and re-engage?
I mean, you don't always sadly know if they're going to just run straight at you to fight again, but I think when you have an Alistar Kalista, it's very safe to go for these plays, because worst case...
Can't lose anything.
Yeah, worst case, you just pull Vander back out with Kalista ulti and he's fine. He's not going to die by diving in. And oftentimes, especially against things like Corki, using the Valk is actually pretty difficult, because if you use it, let's say, if you don't use it fast enough, you get knocked up. If you use it just when the engage happens, oftentimes you actually might get interrupted while doing it. So I think them just going for the good flank engage was something we didn't see from the Monkeys last game, that we saw here from Vitality when it was their job to dive the back line. And it was a good engage, it was a correct call. Obviously a little bit lucky that then Monkeys overextend after, but Vitality, they just punish that mistake instantly.
And they cleared out their second game in a row, 2-0 series victory. Player of the series, Steelback on this Kalista, definitely paying or doing a lot of work in the last team fights, because it was up to him to clean it all up.
Exactly, and I think Steelback in the last few weeks, we have seen more of that guy we saw last year, where he was actually really good in team fights. It's not about laning phase for Steelback, it really isn't. But if you can go into a team fight like this one, in this tank meta, stay safe and actually deal enough damage to be relevant, he's doing his job on Vitality. And I think we can say that for a lot of players on this team right now, they are actually stepping up and doing their job. It's not just Nukeduck, even though we talk a lot about him. There is people around him also performing.
Well, Vitality taking an important win against the Mysterious Monkeys. Let's go over to Dracos for a word with their mid laner. Oh, there he is.
Gentlemen, Desk, I was going to say gentlemen, but that's not fair, it doesn't include Shocks. Desk, there are other people around Nukeduck, but today we are talking to Nukeduck, the man himself, the center of attention very often when we talk about Vitality. So I want to know, from your perspective, how did you feel about Vitality's performance today? Because from my end, from the Desk, it sounds like it was pretty Vitality favored the entire time.
Yeah, they didn't give us too much trouble. We knew what we wanted to do, and we did it. I think we are the better team, so we can always play our style when we play against a team that's a little bit weaker than us. It's easy to play our game.
Today may not have been a super pressing mid lane matchup for you. CozQ has been a mid laner who's been struggling this season, but I'm curious, the Caps tier list has been a while now since it came out, but you were rated very highly. What is your impression of your performance this split as a mid laner? Where do you think you rank among the top mids in Europe?
I think it's too hard to say, but every mid laner is pretty good. Especially on the top teams, all the mid laners are really good. So I mean, it's insanely hard for me to make a list or something like that, especially on the fly.
Yeah. Not looking for a definitive answer. So why don't we try this a different way? What is it that you bring as a mid laner that's unique to you specifically? What is it like? If I want a mid laner on my team, why is it that I would grab Nukeduck as opposed to someone else?
Well, I don't know exactly what everyone brings. I don't know if my qualities are unique or anything like that, but I mean, I try to play the meta and just give my team as many options as I can, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Definitely have seen it, kind of the Jayce coming on stage. We've seen so many different picks from you this season. How are you feeling right now about this meta? I know it's tanks for a lot of the other lanes, but it doesn't look like it's going to be tanks for you. What are your thoughts on mid lane?
The mid meta is pretty much not changed by the tanks that much. It's pretty much the same old. You can play any champion if you're really good on him, I think. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Definitely seems like it was pretty exciting. Just to round things out, Vitality getting much closer to 100% locking in that fourth place, that safe spot. But is that what you personally have your sights set on? I know that there is still some chances that Vitality can make it into playoffs. What are the goals for you right now?
Well, right now, I think everyone over us has 7 wins and we got 4. So in theory, there's still a chance. So we're still going to try to make it to playoff. But yeah, it's going to be hard. But that's our goal, yeah.
I like it. Hard goal, but still definitely looking towards playoffs. We'll see how it works out for you. Thank you for taking the time to meet. Congrats again on your win over Mysterious Monkeys. That's going to do it for us here at the couch. We're going to now send things to a break, but when we get back, it's going to